All good.
Welcome to the May 4th, 2022 meeting for the Historical Architectural Review Board. We are appointed by the mayor as an advisory board to the Bethlehem City Council. Membership on this board must include a registered architect, a licensed real estate broker, and 6 other residents with knowledge or interest in historic preservation, and Bethlehem Building Inspector Mike Simons. My name is Connie Poshtapak, chairperson. We are advised by architect Joe Phillips, our historic preservation officer. Today we are welcoming a new board member, Nick Nikolov. Hi, Nick. Action on a certificate of appropriateness, COA, requires the majority of members present. We have a quorum today. At the end of today's application process, we will appoint a vice chairperson. Today's review will be conducted as follows. Applicants for a certificate of appropriateness will be reviewed in the order in which they were received. Mr. Phillips will describe the proposed changes as well as significant features of the building and describe the Secretary of Interior standards that apply to your project. Changes to district structures must be based on Bethlehem's historic ordinance and the Secretary of Interior standards. Project representatives are welcome to provide additional information and respond to questions from board members. A motion is made and a second solicited. Additional discussion may ensue before the vote is taken. The motion may approve the submission as made or approve with modifications. It may deny with clear reasons why the proposal does not meet qualifications. It may be tabled with a list of clarifications needed to allow the board to make a recommendation. The recommendation of the board is then submitted to City Council for issuance and/or denial of the COA. City Council typically meets the first and third Tuesday of every month. Recommendations made by us today will be acted upon by Council at their next meeting, which you may attend. No work can begin until approval is received. What questions can we answer for you? Everybody good? Board members, is there any conflict of interest with anything that's on the agenda?
No.
Okay. All right. We can call the first applicant, which is 52 East Wall Street.
Yep, sure. Come on up.
Joe, you have the floor then.
Yeah. Are you Donald?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. This is going to be a little longer than usual just because there's kind of 3 elements to this project. The applicant owner of the property located at 52 East Wall Street proposes the replacement of 22 windows on the first, second, and third floors. The proposed Anderson 400 series Woodwright double-hung windows will closely replicate the existing original double-hung windows installed when the home was constructed in 1977. The windows are proposed to incorporate full divided lights that simulate true divided light windows with permanently applied grills on the interior and exterior glass surfaces and an aluminum spacer between the interior and exterior glass panes. The windows are manufactured with a Fibrex composite material coating that will be pre-finished white in the factory. The owner advised that the proposed windows are the same as windows replaced in recent years at 54, 56, and 58 East Wall Street. A search of previously completed meeting minutes show that Harb approved this window for use at 54 East Wall Street at our 5th of June 2019 meeting. So the order of this was 58, I believe, was first. We reviewed 54. Then we reviewed 56 in that time period between 2019 and now. And now we have 52 East Wall Street in front of us. Furthermore, the applicant owner proposes to replace the existing roof shingles on all sections of the roof and is looking for Harb to state their preference for one of the manufacturers and colors included in the submittal. There are 3 manufacturers' products submitted for consideration. They are GAF Slate Line, which I just note that Harb in general has preferred the antique slate color. The IKO Royal Estate Mountain Slate was approved at our most recent meeting for 539 First Avenue. And Owens Corning Oak Ridge Laminated Architectural Shingles, and there's examples of those in your packet. It should also be noted that the applicant is proposing the use of a smart vent roof cavity insulation system to provide venting or airflow in the cavity between the top of the roof insulation and the underside of the roof decking. I think the reason I'm pointing this out in particular is that this system causes one course of shingles near the bottom of the roof to be elevated or raised 3/4 to 1 inch to allow for air intake that then flows up the roof cavity to exhaust through a ridge vent. And a cut sheet has been provided with the application. I think Harb will need to decide if this ventilation system is appropriate to a structure that is contributing to the historic district. Lastly, the applicant owner proposes to replace 2 existing Velux skylights with new in-kind units. One of the skylights is located on the south-facing roof, and the other skylight is located on the east-facing roof. The new skylights will replicate the rectangular shape, black frame color, and square dimensions of the existing skylights, and they're really only kind of barely visible from the adjacent alleyways on 2 sides. Just a note that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention from our 2019 meeting for 54 East Wall Street. It was noted at that meeting that this residence is part of a row of residences that was constructed in 1977, and they replaced an earlier school building that was located on the site. The residents are deemed contributing, but are under the 50-year-old cutoff for historic buildings as defined by the National Park Service and as part of the original national legislation. Properties that have achieved significance within the past 50 years are generally not considered eligible for listing in the National Register of Historic Places. Generally, they must be over 50 years old to be considered for listing, but they are considered contributing. Character defining features: 2-story home, again constructed in 1977, is a cross-gabled asphalt shingle roof facing the street. There's K gutters and rectangular downspouts that are white in color, and all the homes there have K gutters and rectangular downspouts. Simple brick facade incorporates brick relieving arches above the windows and entrance opening. All the double hung windows with simple heads and heavy sills are 6/6 light and are fitted with black louvered shutters on the second floor and white paneled shutters on the first floor. Shutters are fitted with hinges, pull rings, hooks, locks, etc. The off-centered wood paneled entrance door it has a 4-light transom window over it, and it's recessed in an arched opening with wood panel sides. The guideline citations from the Secretary of Interior are number 9 and number 10. New additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction will not destroy historic materials, features, and spatial relationships that characterize the property. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and will be compatible with historic materials, features, size, scale, and proportion, and massing to protect the integrity of the historic property and its environment. That's number 9. Number 10. New additions and adjacent or related new construction will be undertaken in such a manner that if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property and its environment would be unimpaired. Citing Bethlehem Historic District guidelines for roofing, Harb encourages replacement of roofing materials when beyond repair, matching original color, pattern, material, and texture. Citing the City of Bethlehem Harb guidelines for sustainability, page 6, windows. If replacement windows or doors within existing openings are warranted, the Harb encourages installing quality wood replacement windows in existing openings with an exterior painted wood finish matching the historic window appearance and design. The Harb discourage removing, covering, or altering surrounding trim. Also on page 6 of the guidelines for sustainability, shutters. The Harb encourage maintaining and utilizing historic operable shutters. I think that's enough for now. I think 2 things that may not be so clearly stated in the application is what the status of the shutters and hardware will be. And there was one other thing, the trim and sills. I know on some of the other, your neighbors, some of the sills and trim needed to be replaced, and that was either repaired or replaced in kind. So those are kind of two other things. If you don't have anything to add to that long explanation that I read, there's kind of two things that you may be able to provide a little additional information on: trim and shutters and hardware.
Well, the shutters are basically the same as the shutters that were on the house when it was originally purchased. The original shutters were not in good shape. So basically, as you see in the photographs, those are the shutters that will be maintained.
Okay, so you're maintaining them
Yeah.
and the hardware.
Yeah, there's no change.
Okay.
A lot of money spent on the shutters and the hardware in
Yep.
years, but that's that.
Okay. And then the trim and the sills.
Yeah, no, the contractor who's doing this is the same contractor as for 54, 56, and 58 East Wall Street. Our Van Dyke Lumber Company, Michelle Gavietti. Everything is the same as for the other houses, and so there's not going to be any change in the structure or the trim that is significant as far as I'm concerned. However, one always has to realize that there may be local areas of wood decay or rot that would have to be filled. And then those would be, of course, painted over to the original color.
Mhm.
So,
So you're comfortable saying it'll either be repaired or replaced in kind, the same profiles?
yeah, I mean, basically repaired. I mean, not
Okay,
really
okay.
any replacement,
Okay.
but still or anything.
One other question I just thought about, having walked past earlier today. I can't assume this, but I am going to assume this, that the storm windows that are on there will disappear because
Yes.
they're no longer
Yes.
necessary, right?
Well, that's a good question. Definitely. Also, I'm going to put them off. And we will replicate what's in the other three houses.
Okay. That's all I have.
Any other questions? Anybody have?
It's just on the windows or the whole thing?
Well, one of the things that Harb can decide is, do you feel comfortable? Excuse me. Do you feel comfortable making one motion for all the items, being windows, roofing, and skylights, or do you want to address these individually?
I'd like to address them individually.
Okay. So we can start. at the
Makes
beginning.
things easier. Okay, so then as far as the windows go, Joe, you mentioned that Mr. Rockwell's going to be putting in the Anderson window.
Yep.
But on the Harb requirements, it says to be painted on the outside, but your description of the window was that it was covered with something.
Yeah, there's a coating on the window, which is actually the manufacturer's standard paint. It's the same finish. It will be a white finish. They're also going to paint the windows on the inside white, it said in the application, but it will be the same finish of the previously approved neighbors.
Mr. Rockwell, do you have anything that you want to add about the windows?
No, unless you have further questions.
I'll make a motion
Excellent.
to allow for the replacement of the windows as presented at 52 East Wall Street.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
1 second.
Aye.
Oh.
Second is Diana.
Yep.
Let the scribe catch up here.
Sorry.
All right, I'm good.
Okay.
So,
Diana, second.
yep, and all in favor, motion carries unanimously.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, do you want to take roofing next?
Sure.
Excuse me, I don't want to interrupt, but
Mhm.
I do have an update, which may be helpful. Our first choice is actually the plate line GIF antique plate color. So that's what we really wanted. As I understand it, that is approved by Harb
That's a good answer as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's the best answer. Yeah, ding, ding, ding.
The reason for these various options below, I didn't know if there were supply chain issues. I was told by GAF distributor that I had a good chance of getting the antique slate.
All right.
And at this point, I think I have a very good chance of getting it. But the reason I had those other options there were backup options. Now, since then, I don't want to belabor the point and ask for your approval of those next two categories because there is something called as a backup, right line, it's the JF Timberline HPZ. This is the slate color. Of course, shingles are not, rectangular like they are.
Right.
So I don't know how Harb feels about this, but I was told by the distributor that they have a full source of these in the background. So I don't want to hold things up here today by asking you to make an approval on the spot or saying it's okay. But I just wanted to get some guidance as to what you're looking for in case my first choice of the antique slate becomes unavailable.
So what is the biggest difference then between the timberline and the slate line?
It's really the pattern.
Yeah, that's an
Um,
architectural
yeah.
shingle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The slate line is, I believe, a heavier shingle, much more pattern and I mean,
Is
meant
there
to
more
look like,
definition?
yeah, meant to look like slate, more rectangular.
Typically, we don't approve architectural shingles, even though they are in slate color and everything. Typically, we stay with slate lined,
Mhm.
Okay.
slate type asphalt shingle.
Okay. So
So I think you'd be all right with the GAF if that's your first choice. Yes.
antique slate.
Yes.
And then I had the question, there's another color besides the antique slate, which I think is, that's the English gray, which is in your document is shown next to the antique slate. So
Mhm.
I'm wondering if the antique slate would, as an outside chance, not be available, where the English gray be appropriate, or do you need further input from you?
Well, the rest of the building was done in the antique slate, correct? The neighboring ones?
I
Mhm.
don't remember about roofing. The windows specifically, I
Okay.
remember about that.
Actually, the other three buildings in that complex, I think all have three-tab shingles, which are dark in color, ranging from almost black to an extremely dark green. So, as best as I can tell, those are three-tab, those are not architectural grade. So I would be the first one in that complex.
To antique slate?
The English slate looks, I don't know, I'm not the best with colors here, but it looks like to have a little bit more blue or gray, where the royal slate looks to be a darker shingle. Would that be more appropriate if the other ones are in a darker color alongside of your, as a backup color?
Yeah, sure. I mean, whatever you're comfortable with, then I would try to go as a second choice.
Right.
Whatever the board.
It just, it could be my eyes, but it looks like the English gray appears to have a lighter gray, more gray, and even a lightish blue in it. And,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the aggregate seemed
yes.
bigger.
Oh, you have it there?
Yeah, so,
Perfect.
Perfect.
present this, but basically, in the top row here, you see, this is the antique slate here, the English gray here. Okay?
Mhm.
And then,
The Royals on the left.
And the Royals.
bottom, the small representation.
Yeah.
Royal slate.
I think Mike's made a good, yes, absolutely. That could be your
The Royal
backup.
slate would be,
Yeah, your backup.
that would be a backup. Okay.
Um, We've been kind of making it a practice that if for some reason, I think it should be clear that the antique slate color is the preferred color. And if it's not, that we would like a letter submitted to the city through Mike from their installing contractor telling us that it's not available.
Yeah, yeah. So chances are very high as of today that it will be. I don't
Okay.
have any problems, but I'm just,
So the alternate color, if the motion is made and is approved, will be subject to a letter being received from your installing contractor confirming that the antique slate is not.
And do we want to tackle the vent? Or
Yes.
do we want to
Yes.
tackle the
Yes.
roof with
Yeah.
the shingles first?
I give you an update on the vent.
Mhm.
I have, I've been in between when I submitted, now I've identified a roofer and he's looked at
Thank
the
you.
situation.
Thank you.
And this is meant to be a replacement for page 8
Thank you.
of your document. So if I can just refer you to the bottom of the page where it says previously indicated location of smart vent along the roof.
Right.
This was from the website of DCI, the manufacturer, and that was a generic representation of smart vent at some arbitrary location on the roof.
I see.
And so, what we've done since then, told in detail with the contractors who are doing the work. And actually, the smart vent entrance will be located, as you see in the top diagram, smart vent located at eve of roof.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be right at the edge of the roof where that 3/4 inch high intake is located. And that I think is much less noticeable. However, it's important, as I indicate in the proposal up here, that there's a gutter right underneath that location where the entrance to the smart vent appears. So that means that the pedestrian on Wall Street, or actually the pedestrian in the alley, Wesley Avenue, would not be able to detect the presence of that smart vent.
So the smart vent would be then concealed by the
Shingles.
Yeah.
by the
By the
gutter.
gutter.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Yeah, I mean, the gutter is 2 stories up. So when you're
Right.
looking at the ground, you can't see the drip edge, on the fascia or anything like that. So
So from the aesthetic standpoint,
Mhm.
nobody's going to notice it.
I'm just curious, Mr. Rockwell, why your roofer has suggested to use a smart vent.
Okay, that's a very good question. Soffit vent, of course, is one approach to this problem. That was where the intake air comes in to the roof cavity. The soffit vent on our roof is either non-existent in 2 sections of the roof, or it's very small in other sections. In other words, it has only roughly a 1 inch wood opening, and then behind that is perforated material to filter out insects and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So the intake is not suitably designed or not existent in my present roof. Okay? And that is causing definite problems. The icicles in the winter and that sort of thing. So that is, I think, the only reasonable solution. Another issue you worry about with soffit vents is that if the insulation slides down for some reason, or is improperly installed, it can actually jam the soffit or the soffit vent area. So this, I think, is the most effective way to deal with it. I've talked with the technical advisor actually 3 times with the manufacturer of the smart vent, and I've learned a lot about it, and I think it is definitely the way to go. That's the only way that I can effectively ventilate my roof.
have a question as well.
Yeah, sure.
Are you changing the size, format, the manufacturer of the ridge vent to go along with shingles?
The ridge vent will have the same geometry and situation as now. It'll be more or less what you would say would be a standard
Yeah.
ridge vent. I don't have that spec in front of me. But it'll be very similar to what we have. And that's, of course, that is very important.
Yeah.
As you know, for the ventilation aspect.
Yeah.
Some people tend to worry about the ridge vent, but if you don't have an adequate intake of then you know, the whole process is defeated.
And I have one last question about your gutters and your downspouts. They're just going to be reused, or or are you going to be replacing them as well?
No, those will be remaining as they are.
Mhm.
There's really no reason to.
Any other questions? Ready for motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion. I make a motion to grant a certificate of appropriateness to 52 East Wall Street for the replacement of the roof in GAF slate line with antique slate color. However, as discussed, if the antique slate is not available, a letter from the supplier would be supplied to Mike at City Hall. And the second choice of color would be royal slate. The installation of the roof will also include a roof vent, which will start at the gutter edge or the bottom edge of the roof. It will be concealed by gutters. The gutters which are now K gutters and rectangular downspouts, will remain. And we didn't talk about skylights.
We're
That's
going
a
to do the
separate one.
next
That's
one.
a
Okay, that's
separate
next
one,
one. Anything else I've forgotten?
No, I think you got it.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Second. All right, motion's been made and seconded by Mike.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So,
Opposed?
right, so we got Nick, Mike. and Connor. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Okay, skylights.
Skylights.
And that's the bottom of page 2. Here.
Oh, thank you.
There we go.
It's on for there.
Yeah.
I should have an index.
You're a personal index.
Are these the same type of windows that are already existing?
Yes. It's basically, the original ones are the FS302 skylights by Miller. And then that was installed like 12 years ago. And the present model number of the equivalent is FS1002. So the skylights will be at the same location. They'll have the same dimensions, exactly the same dimensions. The exterior color will be black, the same as the present one. The height of the skylight will be the same, the thickness. And I did, here's a generic diagram of that Bella skylight. It's actually more square than this, but anyway, everything is going to be replaced as close as I can to in time. I basically changed the model number to this.
Well, that's simple.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Nick, you to make a motion?
Sure, I would like to make a motion.
Motion made by Nick,
I'll second.
second by Mike.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Carries unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Rockwell.
Thank you for
Thank you.
the info. Thank you for the revised detail coming prepared. That was very helpful.
Yeah, I really appreciate all that you're doing. It's really great.
Thank
No, you're
you.
very kind.
The only thing you need a permit for is the roof replacement.
The roof replaced.
Yes, the windows are the same size going back in, so you don't need anything for that and,
Okay.
or the skylights.
But my contractor's gonna handle that.
Yep, I'm just to,
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Five 12.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
And your name is? Janine. Okay, thank you. And are you Robert? Rob? Okay. The applicant, owner of the property located at 512 North New Street, proposes to change the color of the door from brown to black and paint the existing brown colored circle top window infill material black. It appears that the construction, he submitted 3 options. They've submitted 3 options for doors for our consideration. It appears to me that all of those being presented are of a fiberglass material. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the hardware being proposed is bright brass. The hardware that's on the door right now, there's kick plates and handles and stuff. It is bright brass. Yep. So the building is a 1-story flat roof structure. It was originally a U.S. Post Office building. It has a smooth stone base, smooth brick upper wall. There's a centrally located arched door opening. It's topped with a cast stone ornamented panel and surrounding trim. There's 2 arch top window openings symmetrically flanking the double entrance doors on each side of it. And they're also fitted with cast stone surrounding trim and a keystone in the arch. The existing windows are 24 light windows, and they're topped with that infill panel that's proposed to be painted black and is currently brown. The parapet is of an alternating height with this cast stone cap. So pretty simple building. The openings are really the primary feature in the building, the arched openings, and new door of a different color, and then just painting the material in the top of those window openings from brown to black. Is that correct?
That's what we're thinking of at this point, yeah.
Okay.
Replacement of the door. Painting.
Okay.
The windows and the other areas. There's a parking area over to the left side of the picture. And that's brown as well. So basically wherever it's brown, turn it black.
All right. There was it looked like there was an infill. It sets back a little bit, so that infill would be painted black too. I mean, I will say that the brown is pretty dark brown, so the casual person walking by, I'm not sure they'll notice the difference.
yeah.
That-
Are the windows black too?
Everything is brown. Everything's the same color.
They're like a really dark bronze.
Like, oh, okay. So
Deep
Very
bronze.
dark, yeah.
are they wooden windows?
No, they're aluminum.
Okay.
Is the door currently wood?
I mean, this structure was redone in 1976.
Uh-huh.
It's the original door. It's 46 years old. It's shot. So I'm just looking to replace something similar there. What's there now. But I mean, before, when it was the post office, it was, actually I have a picture of what was there way back when it was glass. So I don't want to go back to glass, and we looked at other options, single door with side glass and other things there, but it's an unusual surround, and it would involve a lot of carpentry and redoing. And I think the simplest thing is to just replace the door with a similar door.
I don't think a single door would be appropriate there.
Right.
I do have a
I mean,
question
you're
though.
proposing double doors.
Double
Yeah.
doors.
Yeah, I said I don't think a single door would be appropriate there. No.
My question to you is, what is the difference between the two doors that are here? The two, one is a mail slot and then the other is,
I think the second door, there's windows at the top, and it was kind of, you see it. It might
Oh,
have
I
just
see.
Cut off in the print, I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So there's
gotcha.
like 4 windows at the top. and
Yes.
The third option is something that we really probably don't want anyway, because it's more, I think it's a separate.
There's only 2
casing
doors
with
there.
The third option.
we don't have
We
a
don't-
third
we don't-
option in
no,
our
we only
package.
have 2 doors.
I might have taken that out.
All right, so really, we're only talking about 2 options then, right?
Are there windows above the doors currently?
No.
No, they're just panel doors.
Can't tell from the picture.
Which one do you prefer? What's,
I think the first option is what we're leaning towards,
Same as what we have.
because I don't think there's really room for any type of transom in there.
Okay, so just so I understand, we're going from metal to fiberglass.
Excuse me.
That's what the contractor came up with.
Over from metal to possibly a wood door.
I want to try to stay maintenance free.
Mm-hmm.
I've had wood doors, and I mean, on a residence, it's one thing, but on a commercial building, I mean, it's not really something I think can avoid it. We'd like to do that.
It does get a lot of dirt from the street
Yeah, I mean,
too.
it's kind of road dirt, and it's
And
just
traffic there.
sun is the other problem. But,
Or sun.
building, I mean, that's why everything's had to be repainted so much, it's just bakes out, so it's really. Takes a lot of sun.
Well, you're going to see that happen with the black too. That's going to happen fast.
So do you know, is the door an integral color or does it get painted?
I think they said it should come pre-painted.
Okay, so it's pre-finished, but it's not
Pre-finished.
necessarily an integral color.
We'll have to match it with the paint that's going to be added to the windows. It's not,
Right.
so we'll have to match it to that. It's not gonna be different
Okay.
than what we go with the windows. And we'll surround that with
Mhm.
a lot of windows. And at the parking area.
Is that what that is to the left, a single parking area?
Yes.
Is it like a gate on there?
It's a pulling spot. It's where the old postal truck would pull in the building.
I have 2 questions to the board. Do we typically pick a manufacturer for paint for applicants? Have we in the past? No.
Not necessarily, not that I can recall.
I don't think
Not a
manufacturer, but color.
Color.
But color,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So if they have to pick a color, should we be guiding them in the color?
Well, personally, I mean, I think the black is totally acceptable. It's, I think it's the finish that the black is applied to that's going to help that black stay that color. You will still see the dust from the street, unfortunately. But I have a question for Joe regarding going back to the fiber. Are we good with that? Is that acceptable as far as historically or
Well,
because of the age of the building?
I mean, I think
We need your guidance.
they're proposing to replace this kind of in kind, but not with material. So we already have, the way the guidelines are written, everything should be wood. So it's already not wood, so I'm not sure
Yeah.
if it matters if it's wood or fiberglass. I mean, these doors are common in use. And, you know, because people want them to be maintenance free. So,
Mhm.
I don't think there's a big concern with that since they're already metal and we're matching them.
We're not matching.
No, he's
Right.
getting the fiberglass
We're not matching material, but we're matching
Matching
design, aren't we?
design. He's
Design.
concerned about the design.
We're matching the design, but we're
Six.
not matching the material.
Correct.
I can't tell because mine's in black and white. Jill
Right.
has the
Yeah, I
color.
remember seeing it online. It was, it's exactly like
Right.
your first choice.
Right.
And I'm assuming that the hardware is going to match too. The brass hardware.
Yeah, I think,
There's
they
ref.
described it in the,
It'll be,
it'll be very, if not, as close as possible to what's there.
Right. It talks about mail slot, bright brass, 30 by 6-inch solid brass. That must be the kick plate.
Yeah, they're,
and what really will be nice, and I don't know if you see that in the picture, but there's two really, nice old, like, lights on the side that are black already.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I remember
So
seeing
it
that.
really will make, I think it'll make the building pop
Mhm.
with having a nice, front there, and also we have the nice, street light. too, in front of the building.
Yeah.
That's,
And then your mail slot will be, this door will accommodate a mail slot?
I think they're
Your
gonna-
new door?
They'll cut it in, yeah.
Okay. And then are you going to use the same hardware that you have on your existing door on the new door? Just add something new?
Such-
Shot completely?
It's-
Okay.
It's old,
Yeah.
it needs to be replaced.
All right. And then numbers? Are we concerned about numbers and the type of numbers?
Do you currently have numbers on your door?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
512.
I don't need to have them there, you know.
What is it?
Do you see it?
Oh,
They just need to be, code-wise, they need to be
They need to be 4 inches?
4 inches, but they need to be a differentiating color
They were
from the
brass
door.
colored.
So if they're
So if
brass,
they were brass.
Yeah,
they would
if they're
work.
brass, they
Okay,
would work.
Yeah, good.
I mean, we were talking about that, we don't need to have the numbers on the door, we have it on the side, we have it on the sign.
Mhm.
Put it on the sign. Is that correct?
I didn't think so because the sign is, what does the sign say?
oh, I see it. It's on
512 North New Street.
I-
we're in the, 512.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think you need them on the door then.
Yeah, I think we might avoid putting them on the door, that's okay.
Especially, yeah.
I mean, it was a question that.
The more holes, the more cold.
We were hoping that we didn't have to, so that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'll see that one.
how large are the numbers on the sign?
Good point.
The reason I ask is I'm from the code enforcement side. They need to be 4 inches per code for.
That's probably why you have them on the door in the first place.
Yeah, though that was part of what
The door predates
I
that
was,
sign.
I was going to ask if we were to get a new sign,
Mhm.
in brass,
Okay.
that would be okay, I would imagine,
Mhm.
whether it's brass or black. It's in black now with a brass inlay. But I'd like to have it opposite brass, then we could, change it.
2 numbers. Yeah. I mean, you'd have to come back to this board for the sign, but you
What
could
we
do
need,
that.
4-inch number, we need 4-inch.
4 inch identification numbers on that property.
On the, will probably be 3 inches and 7/8. So.
There's- I don't know, I'm gonna measure
I'll
them
look,
out.
I'll look.
Yeah. That's close enough.
Okay.
But I mean,
Definitely measure mine.
you need to be able to see them from
See them
the
from the
street.
street.
It's just for emergency services.
Got it.
Is that's
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
that's.
No worries, we'll figure that out.
We
So,
could put them on the door if we have, put them on the door if we have.
If we don't put them on the door, we'll have them on a sign that has 4-inch.
Well, that's the thing though. You need to come back for the sign. So if you do the doors before the sign, then you're going to end up having to put the numbers on the doors before unless you get the sign first and then do it all in one shot.
But I think where the numbers are now is not to code because if a car parks in front of there, you cannot see the numbers.
No, they actually should be higher.
Yeah,
We
But
don't have
There's
parking
no
on
parking.
our side.
okay.
oh,
The person who parks
Oh, I
there,
see, there is a
mailman.
sign.
okay,
Okay.
Yeah,
all the meters are on the other side
Yeah,
of the
we don't
street.
have
Then
any
they-
There's no parking on our side.
then they'd
Okay.
be okay.
So
Okay.
How are we documenting it? I need to just write this in minutes.
Can I just go to one question? If you have like, if you keep the sign on the left, say as is, or we change it, because we'd like to upgrade it to the brass, maybe we could just put the 512 on the right side. I mean, I don't know. Would that be a reasonable thing?
On the right side of the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
where it is now. That's fine.
Well, not on the door,
Or
on the
under-
right side of the building.
Or underneath the.
Underneath the
new sign.
lantern.
Oh,
You may not be able to get away with the brass at that point because it would have to contrast the brick.
Right.
You can do that. It would just be dependent upon the color choice you had.
But-
Yeah.
Right.
But they would have to come back. to this.
They'd have to
They'd
come
still
back
have
for
to come
both.
back because you're
Yeah.
attaching to the building. But yeah, but you may have to use a black. Black might even be tough there. You may have. I don't know what color you would use, but you'd have to use a contrasting color.
well, you could do a little pinstripe around it in the black.
Or
That
you
would
could
pop it
right. Yeah, there's options we can
Yeah.
give you.
on the sign. So let's talk about the door, though. Let's come back to the door.
So for
we
this
can-
submission, where are the numbers going?
On the door.
There we go.
Definitely the door.
Mm.
So brass numbers on door.
Correct.
On the right, probably nail slide on the left, just like it is now.
Yeah.
Because that door on the left is not really a
Stationary.
working door.
That's right.
I mean, unless
It's
we
not your
can
active
move
door.
stuff in and out, but I think it'll be the same way. It'll be,
Like a locking door.
yeah.
Same kick plates.
I think so.
Yeah, they're listed as 30 inches by 6-inch brass.
Okay.
US 3, which is, I think it's polished brass.
Okay, so you're not changing any of the woodwork around the door.
Well, it'll have to
Framing.
be- It will have to be reframed as necessary to fit it in.
Okay,
It's
Is
not
it-
the easiest job, but we understand.
is it decorative right now, or is it just
It's just it's
profile?
just
There's a
framed
pro.
out. Yeah, it's just framed out. And so the idea probably at this point is to replace it similarly to what's there.
Right,
We
so
haven't come up, I mean, we had some other ideas, but I think that's just gonna be the way it's gonna have to be done.
Mhm.
That,
I think the
In
the
black.
beauty of the portico of your door is gorgeous. You don't need any real extra
Detail.
we were just.
decoration
Yeah, I
Right.
just
at
don't
all.
know how they would kind of
Just gonna need to
build
fit
it in. And I think what we're gonna try to do is clean it up and make
Mhm.
less, less pieces to it. if we can. Just kind of simplify it. That's the, that's what I'm hopeful of. And,
All right, so the door is the first door
Mhm.
on here, item 001, 64 by 80, FCM 60.
Ready to make a motion?
I guess.
I make a motion to approve a certificate of appropriateness for the building at 512 North New Street concerning the replacement of the door using item 0001, exterior 64 by 80 inch door, fiber classic mahogany, painted in black. The mail slot will be added, and it will be a shiny brass with Schleg handle sets will be done in similar kind to what is existing. Numbers 512 will be approximately 4 inches in height, and will be placed to the right on the right door. Both doors will have the kick plate as it has been described in the proposal. And I think that's it.
It will be
And the color will be
trimmed
black.
to
Oh.
match.
Pardon me?
It will be, the door will be trimmed
Thank
to
you.
match
The door will be
existing.
trimmed in a simple fashion in like kind to, and painted black to match the new door.
Okay, and then I just add one, okay, so we want to include the approval if we can for the windows, all the areas that are brown to make black. Is that going to come as part of the second piece or? should we add that?
Just add that to
Yeah,
your,
we'll just add it to it then. So then the windows, which have been described that are in brown, will be painted to match the black of the front door.
In the side area.
In the side,
Side
right?
areas.
That parking area.
Okay.
Mhm.
On the side
And
area.
it might include, just for clear, there's downspouts too.
And downspouts will be painted in black?
Yep. Well, I'm not sure yet. What are we doing with those? Because they're brown.
The downspouts are on the side of the building,
They're on the
Right.
so
side.
they're painted brick.
I think they
Color.
should stay brick.
Yeah,
I
they should
agree.
stay
And
black.
I'm not, yeah,
All right.
that's right.
Yeah.
They're
Just
staying,
checking.
they're not jumping out that way.
no, they're not, they're gonna stay brick because they're on the side of the building. The front of the building's like more of a stone look and the red brick is on the side.
Mhm.
So we'll keep the downspouts of red brick painted
Mhm.
like they are now.
So just to reiterate, then the side gutters, downspouts will be kept in the brick color to match the side of the building. Okay. Anything else?
I think you got it. Let's see
Did we
how
have a
Joe's doing.
second? We had a motion by Diana.
Are you
I
painting
second.
the lanterns? Are you painting the lanterns as well?
No.
They would
Yeah.
just probably be repainted black.
They are black now,
Yeah.
so.
Black now.
But they're sitting.
Spruced up to match the rest of the.
Okay, go.
I guess we can't do the closed though.
No.
Sorry?
So who can we get to do that?
Yeah, you might have to contact Public Works on that one.
You
And
okay
then
there,
just to
Joe?
note that if you are changing your signs and changing numbers, you'll be back with another application.
Certainly.
So I'll make a second.
Okay.
All right, motion's been made by Diana, seconded by Mike.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Could I ask for some guidance while we're here?
Depends on your neighbors back there, but sure.
Um, We're thinking about the need to replace those front windows. I know it's another application to come back. And I heard some discussion here of could it be acceptable kind of thing. Should we just, and I'm not sure when we're gonna do it, but should we make an application of what we're thinking and then come back and just see what the thoughts are on that? maybe
No,
a month or two?
How you would handle that is, so depending on when you're going to do this is, bring in you can make an application, you can bring in your specifications that you're going to propose and stuff. Bring them into the code enforcement office for review prior to coming to the board, because we'll let you know if it's even feasible or even if those are the type of windows we'll accept or anything like that. So you don't go too far down a rabbit hole before you come in front of the board.
Okay, because we've gotten some ideas. I mean, there's four, as you can see, there's four large.
Yep.
And those things are like vintage, like, they're all fogged up. I mean,
Underneath that top round that's brown now are half moon windows that we had found up in there.
Mhm.
And I don't think they're able to be restored, obviously, but they're still up in there.
Well,
But
can
we'd
you go
like-
that route? At least
we-
check into it.
We have started checking into getting another half moon window with a replacement of the whole window.
Mhm.
So we've started that, looking into that and the pricing of that. And I think Rob even has some information on that, but, we can,
So let's check with code enforcement on.
Mhm.
Are those
option A,
windows
option B, and then-
Metal or are they wood now?
They look aluminum to me.
They're-
Yeah,
but-
they look
they're,
aluminum.
The actual windows probably,
window is wood, but around it is metal.
I don't think the
It would
windows.
be the other way around.
They're, I mean, there's all brake metal around it.
Mhm.
They're all built in like that. I don't know what they are, but they're,
They're massive.
yeah, they're big.
But
So
it
they're
would
like
be pretty
60,
to restore that moon.
they're about 5 feet across. I think they're 60, about 58 inches across by we looked at Pella, some options in Pella for that. So I'll check with them, just vote on the
Yep.
thing, and then maybe come back in a month or two and talk about that. That's kind of on my, can only bite off so much of them.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it.
Bring when you do come to code, bring a couple options and pictures. Any manufacturer specification sheets work
Yep.
out very well for us.
Very good. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Very
Sure.
much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Take care.
You too.
Okay, Joe?
444 North New Street. Are you Brian?
I'm Brian.
And your name is? Trish. Okay. The applicant owner of the property located at 444 North New Street proposes to replace concrete steps and landing along Wall Street and redo the parking pad along Wall Street. The new steps will be 5 feet wide and have flagstone treads. The landing will be constructed with brick pavers similar to the pavers used in the Wall Street sidewalk and will include the use of some of the old bricks that are already on the property. The retaining wall adjacent to the parking pad will be repaired using existing stone. The parking pad will be excavated 4 inches, and then new decorative red chip stone will be put back in its place. It's the same type of stone that is currently there. The existing site consists of some simple garden beds with a concrete walk and concrete steps leading from the brick sidewalk at the street to the side. I guess you would consider that the side porch, the side porch. And then it also kind of leads around to a door that goes to the basement. The redstone chip parking area is bordered by, appears to be dry laid natural stone wall. There's some brick mixed in there. And large trees screen the view of the home from Wall Street. I saw in the application, there was a little site sketch. Do you propose to take this new walkway around the right side of the building as well?
Here.
Yeah. Yes, the concrete currently goes, these are the steps down
To the basement.
small door.
Mhm.
The concrete currently wraps around the side of the porch, and that would be replaced by the.
Okay.
I think it is appropriate to read some of the guideline citations for this one. From the Secretary of Interior Standards, number 2, the historic character of a property will be retained and preserved. The removal of distinctive materials or alteration of feature spaces and spatial relationships that characterize a property will be avoided. And I'm reading this because this is a little different than work on a building that we're used to seeing. This is really the site and property. So I think the spatial relationships they're proposing to put the walk back in its same place. So I think all those spatial relationships are being respected. Distinctive materials, features, finishes, and construction techniques are examples of craftsmanship that characterize the property will be preserved. I think they're taking concrete and replacing it with flagstone, so I think that's a plus. Number 9 and 10, which we cite a lot, are kind of the typical ones. From the Bethlehem Historic Design Guidelines, site elements, Harb encourages installing natural stone walls. Harb encourages the retention and maintenance of existing historic paving materials such as brick, stone, and gravel.
All right, I do have a question. You just said that the someone was going to be done in not a paver, right? Or what did you say?
Flagstone.
Flagstone. thank
Flagstone
you.
is the treads, correct?
Flagstone is the treads.
The step.
Treads will
All
be
right.
flagstone. And then when you get to the top, what is concrete landing will become the brick pavers, similar to the brick that's used on the sidewalk.
Okay.
So is it brick from the brick walk to the steps, flagstone steps, and then brick again, or is it? Okay.
And concrete steps.
The concrete steps are being removed.
What's going to be underneath the flagstone?
I'd have to ask my contractor.
Right. Okay. So I'm assuming it's going to be probably a concrete
Yeah.
based material. You're not going to see it, is what I'm getting at. I'm just saying
It'll
brick,
be-
concrete with the flagstone onto the brick. Okay.
All right, so are the risers going to be flagstone as well then?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Will
And
there
then,
be edging around the walk in stone or in brick or in
Brick.
flex? Brick.
Yeah.
And the brick will be standing up, it will be a raised edging or just
Flush
flush?
raised. It'll
Flush.
be Flush with the surface.
Yeah.
It'll just be running in different directions.
Got it.
Flush brick.
And what are you using as the filler in between the brick, or is it just loose lay?
The filler is, I'd have to ask my contractor specifically. It's something similar to sand.
Yeah.
Screenings,
Sand-based,
yeah.
screenings,
Better,
sand or
yeah.
screenings.
and then are you proposing, I'm just looking at your stairs now. Are your stairs as wide? I think I read in the application there was
Well, the
5.
Stairs now, I believe so. The stairs currently are varying heights. And
Oh, I see that.
length.
Right,
And they're off to sort of one, like if you look at the
Yeah.
wood steps up to the
Mhm.
porch, they're not centered to that.
correct.
The new flagstone will be centered
A little bit nice.
to the campus.
But they'll be, will they be as wide as your porch steps or they,
Not quite as wide,
not as wide, okay.
But they're as wide as the existing steps, right?
wider.
Wider, right.
Okay.
It sounded like you were going 5 feet wide?
That's
That's correct, okay.
And they're centered on the porch steps.
correct.
I would only recommend that they're not narrower than the walk itself.
And it looks like they're the same, yeah. I mean, the diagram, good.
It will
Yeah.
be the same width or larger. You need a rail as well, handrail.
Yeah, you're over 4 steps or 4 risers.
Yes,
You need a handrail,
yes.
at least on one side.
We've discussed a handrail. We
Okay.
haven't sort of made specific plans for it yet.
Okay.
That's something that would need to come back here. Like we're thinking a simple cast iron rail.
That's not very simple. I recently had to replace one of them. That's not simple at all. Yeah.
That's-
Yeah, I mean, technically that should come back.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
it
agree.
should.
Whatever banister we have.
Yeah. That'll have to come back, but you're a ways away from putting the banister in yet, right?
Yes, I mean, assuming we.
Get this okay, you're
It's June. when we're-
okay, yeah. So by then, what I would suggest is just put together the package with that rail. And if there's any other changes you've decided to make if you get approved today, between now and then.
But wouldn't the handrail have to be installed along with the steps?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if
In the
it's a
concrete,
flagstone
right?
top, are you going to put them on?
A stringer
My
in or
understanding
something?
from the rail is that we want to go with the iron rail.
Mhm.
We need to get the steps installed, then measure for the rail.
But you need
Okay.
to,
But you need to drill the flagstone.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
but I also would recommend that, you discuss this with your contractor because depending on how thick this flagstone is, that may not be sufficient and you may need to actually go beyond the flagstone into the
Concrete itself.
brick area. So I don't know what the substrate for under the brick is, if you're going to be using compacted sand or you're pouring a concrete pad first. So like you have to have that figured out now, even if the rail is not approved yet.
Okay.
Anticipating the installation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
But you're anticipating that the steps themselves will actually be poured concrete with then flagstone
Well,
treads
so-
and risers?
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have the specifics.
That's
but
all right.
My understanding is that the steps themselves are it's flagstone step, but it's
Okay,
solid.
so it's a
Oh,
solid
it's a
flagstone.
slab,
Oh, all right. Okay.
not a face.
I was just thinking of a slab
okay.
across the.
Yeah.
They're putting stuff, they're not
So they're gonna lay pieces of flagstone.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
okay,
Okay,
And so if we do a rail, those would be drilled.
yeah,
okay.
okay. Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Now I understand. That clears it up. Okay.
But then, so then does he, just as Nick has, and everyone has suggested, in anticipation of the railing though, they still need to know from their contractor how it's going to be installed, correct?
Well, yes and no. I mean, they still got to pick the design and the type of rail, but if it's a solid slab of flagstone like that, it's going to be a pretty standard installation.
Okay.
But they'll still have to come back here.
They're still going to have to
Yeah,
come
you
back
still have to
to
come
get
back,
the
but
rail
still.
approved. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We will discuss the style of the rail, not the method of
Correct.
installation.
Right.
The method has to meet code, so that's
Right.
Right.
The style has to meet Harb.
correct.
Yes.
It's gonna look so nice.
It'll be
Yes.
beautiful.
That is going to look nice.
Yeah.
I walk by the house every morning, like my kids go to my house.
Ready for motion?
Yep.
Nick?
Yes, I'd like to motion for certificate of
Appropriateness.
appropriateness for the installation of new steps made of solid flagstone slab. Slightly, I guess they are repositioned on axis with house steps, existing sidewalk, two side steps on New Street to be removed and replaced with a brick sidewalks with a trim of a varying pattern. The adjacent the parking area facing New Street to be excavated and existing crushed stone to be replaced with in-kind matching red crushed stone. What else?
Handrail,
Handrail to come back
just
at
to
a
come
later
back.
Yeah, but why discuss that? That we're not approving or disapproving anything.
date.
Just to add it in.
No
just as a
mention
reminder.
It'll be in the minutes.
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
minutes. The future installation of future handrail to be approved at a later date. Am I forgetting something?
Sounds good to me.
No, I think you got
A
it.
second.
Second by Connie. All right. Motion made by Nick,
May I
seconded by
just ask
Connie.
one question though?
Mhm.
We didn't talk about your wall around your parking pad.
Yes.
So that's just going to be recreated as we see it in these photos?
He's basically they're just gonna repair what exists. So we're not taking anything down and putting anything back. It's just, if you see it, it's
Yeah, I
like
know
there's
you're-
stones
yeah.
that are falling out,
Mhm.
and different things, and they're just gonna go in and just try to short.
Okay.
So fairly small.
So nothing has to be added about that.
I mean, I can add that stone wall to be
Minor repair.
repaired
Minor
as,
repair.
yeah, as indicated. Repaired in place.
Okay,
All right.
all righty.
Motion has been made and seconded.
All approved? Approval?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion carries unanimously.
Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Before we move on and forget about it, like we sometimes do, are there any comments or clarifications on the meeting minutes from our April meeting?
I do not have any.
I don't know.
I don't have it.
And Nick, you weren't here, so you don't. So I am going to mark them as approved
Yeah,
unanimously.
approved.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, and then also before we go, is there any volunteer for vice chair? Otherwise, we will nominate.
We'll pick someone.
We'll pick someone.
So yeah, we need to elect the vice chair. We're also 2 members down from, this board can have 9 members. So we're currently 2 members down. Both Connie and I have mentioned that to Darlene. So I don't.
And I mentioned something to the mayor about it
Okay.
as well.
All right. So
So,
it's
yeah.
really his job to
Yep.
appoint. If we know of people, at least one of the members tonight has talked to me about knowing people that may be qualified.
If
or
there's
just-
anybody who has any interest, what they usually do is they usually send a resume or just a narrative as to, what historic background they have or whatever. And they can email that to myself or Darlene Heller or Joe, and we will get it to the proper channels. And
I know someone who has expressed interest in the past. She is a local shop owner.
Okay.
So I'll ask her again if she's interested.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Connie. I think we have realtor, we have architect, we have code official. So is there someone?
I bridged the business owner
Okay.
and the
business.
resident.
Right.
So I can jump ship from one to the other
Right.
as need be.
But in general, I guess what I was getting at, they can be just at-large members.
Right.
And they don't have to live in the district.
That's correct.
Well, the BHDA president, upon hearing that I was appointed, says like, are there any vacancies? Is there neighbors that would like to, that have expressed interest?
Yeah. I mean, they can certainly
Yeah.
submit.
But they don't need to be.
Is that Alan?
I mean, I'm an architect, also a resident.
Well, yeah.
So like I can be anything.
Right. You hold many hats. You know what I mean?
Nick, is that Alan? Local?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a lawyer. He'd be very good. And he's a history buff. He'd be very good at that as part of the board.
So apply through Mike or Darlene.
I don't know if he himself, I mean, he wants to know about it, but I don't know if he will.
Mm.
He was inquiring about himself,
Mm-hmm.
stirring up trouble.
All right. So anyone that's interested can apply through Mike or Darlene. They will get the information to the mayor. And then it's up to the mayor. All right. So,
I nominate
I know.
you,
Diana,
Diana, for vice chair.
I'll second.
That was very.
Well,
all right,
All right.
a motion has been made
Motion.
and seconded to nominate Diana. Motion by Connie. Second by Mike.
How about Rod? Do you think Rod would be a good vice chair?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I didn't know we're really short today. Do we want to hold off till the next meeting when we have more?
it sounds like she wants to back out, so sure, we can
No,
wait.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all. I just want the vice chair to be the best selection out of the group.
Well, it's only for 6 months,
Mm.
and then we could reelect officers at the beginning of.
That's fine.
What does the vice
Well-
chair do?
Fills in when the chair can't be here.
I have nothing against Rod, but he does tend to have times when he needs to be away and can't attend. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I'd be happy to do it.
you're generally
great.
here. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all right. So you guys
Make a
need to
motion
vote.
to adjourn the meeting.
Well, hold on. We didn't,
We need to
did we
vote.
say aye?
We did not say aye yet, so everyone in favor of Diana as vice chair?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Hearing none, motion carries.
Do I have to vote for
unanimously.
myself or not? I volunteer.
Okay. I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Is there a way to this to recycle those?
At 6:17. Meeting adjourned at 6:17.
Thank you very much.
Good first meeting.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Joseph.
Well done.